Good morning students. Welcome to Avyan IAS Academy. Today I am a new English teacher and we will begin with something as basic as articles. In articles we will take up the definite articles and the indefinite articles. So under the definite articles we will have the, and under the indefinite articles we will have a and an. So what is the difference between using a and an in a sentence and the in a sentence? For using a and an before a word or a sentence, it is used when we are trying to indicate towards something that is not as particular or not indicating towards anything very proper. For example, we can say a book or a tree. It means that it can refer to any book or it can refer to any tree. And when we are using the article an, which is used before vowels like a, e, I, o, u, an is used only before words beginning with these vowels, and for the rest we will be using a. For all the 21 consonants other than these 5 articles we will be using a, and for only these 5 vowels we will begin the word or the sentence with an. So it is an umbrella or an orange. So when we say a or an, it would mean that it could refer to any umbrella, any orange, any book or any tree. But when we are using the same word for the, and we are saying the book, we are saying the book, or we are saying the tree or the fruit, any of it, it would indicate towards anything particular. When do we use this the? For example, we will take up a sentence and we will see the woman you met in the party is my sister. So students, as you can see that the woman, and there is a reference to the sister. So when you are indicating towards this particular woman, you are referring to the narrator's sister. But if the same sentence comes with a woman, it wouldn't indicate towards something as specific as towards the narrator's sister. But when you say the woman, it indicates towards the narrator's sister. That is the primary difference between using a and an before a word or a sentence and the before a word or a sentence. Now let us go over to using seeing where are the other places where you can use a, an and the. For the, as a definite article, it is used before all proper nouns, including names of roads, cities, countries, places and rivers. So when we are trying to all, I say all because I am referring to only names of roads, countries, cities, rivers, places which are just one in number. By proper nouns I do not mean the name of people. Name of people never begins with an article. Neither of the articles, neither with a or an or with the. The name of people will never begin with articles. Remember this always. But there are instances in one or two cases when we are trying to use them as a reference to someone not very particular, but as if it is in a proverb. For example, a Daniel comes. Here the reference to a Daniel means anybody. It's just like indicating towards Tom, Dick or Harry. It means any person. That is only one or two instances in when we use an article before a name. But remember, in general, we do not use articles before any proper noun other than when it indicates towards the name of people or person. But we will use them for only these things like roads, cities, places, rivers, countries. The next usage of the would be for your cardinals. Now, what do we mean by the cardinals? The cardinals, as you might know, means numbers. So how will we use them in a sentence? For example, she occupied the second position. The second position. Whenever we are trying to indicate a position or a cardinal means anything that is done in numbers. So whenever we say she occupied the second position, we generally will not say she occupied second position. There has to be a the before any position she occupies. Or he is the second child of his parents. Also we would be using the second child of his parents. Another instance could be I will be reading the second and third chapter. So as you can see that I have written I will be reading the second and third chapter. You can either use article once and indicate both towards the second and the third chapter, or you can also say I will be reading the second and the third chapter. Both are right if you consider it according to your grammar. So these are the few usages that we had for the. Now let us go to a few usages of a and an. A and an. You might know that as I have said already that a and an are used for any indefinite object. Indefinite means that is not particular. Okay, so now we would go towards a few exceptions. Please keep these exceptions in mind because they are asked a lot during your examinations. For example, the exceptions generally would come around with an. When we say an hour, although it begins with a H, which is technically not a vowel, it is a consonant, but we do not pronounce the H while we are saying it. We say an hour. We begin pronouncing it from here. That is why we will refer this to as an hour, right? Also the other, for example, an year or I. All these are going according to the rules. Like you say E, in both the instances as an year or I, for which we are using an, but this is an exception, an are. The other exception that we would do is for a. The few exceptions that we have for a would be a university and a European. Because when we say European and university, none of it is pronounced as U or E. Rather, both of them are pronounced as Y. Hence, we are using the A before university and European. These are the other sides of exceptions while using the articles. So, as I was saying about the particular usage of articles, you can see here that I would be pointing towards a very few common errors which you might be asked to correct in any one of your examinations, and also these are errors which we make while speaking as well. For example, I hope you had an enjoyable stay. Some of you by now might have been able to understand that using a is wrong in this sentence. What we have to use here is an. I hope some of you had an enjoyable stay. The next one is one of the girls I share with is a British. For example, this is another usage of article where we will talk about omission of articles. Omission का मतलब है we don't use it. For example, in this sentence, when we say one of the girls I share with is a British, this a is not needed. You can just write is British. This a is redundant. It is not really needed before this sentence. Another exception which we come towards is my husband is doing an MSc in engineering. Using a here is not correct because we are using an abbreviation. Abbreviations would generally, for a degree, will not use a, it will use an. And for the last sentence that we have here is sometimes it is difficult to lead a honest life. As I have said that honest, just like our, is pronounced as honest with the word beginning with O. This H remains silent. Hence, we are not using a, we will be using an. It is difficult to lead an honest life. So these are the few errors which I could talk about, and other than that, let us take a look at once more before to this particular topic of omission of articles. So omission of articles in the sentences, which are the places when we can not use an article. That means we don't need to use it. For example, before uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns are the ones which we cannot count. For example, sugar, salt, blood, gold, or any sort of metals that we are talking about. So before using this, she is having a blood cancer. We don't usually say that, we just say she is having blood cancer. So before anything that is uncountable, we will not use articles. We will not use articles before uncountable nouns. We also, as I have also previously talked before this, that we will not use articles before proper nouns. Proper nouns only in respect to name of people. Okay, so when we are talking about any Jack, Daniel, Harry, so we will generally not use any article. For example, we will say, here comes Jack to the party. We can just say, here comes Jack. We will not use any article before the noun Jack. But remember that since this is a proper noun in respect to people's name, we are avoiding the use of articles. But had it been a name of a city, town, fort, palace, rivers, any of those, we would have used the definite article of the. So these are mostly the two cases where we would not use the articles. As I have also talked about the other two instances when we do not use articles, where for the proper nouns and for the proper nouns as well as for uncountable nouns. Now we will come to the third case where we do not again use articles, that is abstract nouns. For example, abstract nouns will talk about qualities. For example, childhood, anger, fear. So before we use these words like in her childhood, we will say in her childhood. We will not use any article before childhood. Or in anger, when we say in anger she did the crime. So before anger also we are not using any article. Or also when we talk about fear, for example, in the fear of being punished, the child lied. Also when we say that, we will not use an article. Next comes the plural nouns. We will not use an article before plural nouns. For example, children like chocolates. See, this is a common noun, but chocolates are common noun, but we are not using an article before this chocolates. Also, we will not use article before the name of meals. For example, did you have your lunch? We will not use an article before lunch, dinner, breakfast, or any of the names of the meal. We will neither use articles before the names of relations like father, mother, brother, any of it. Like, the man you saw there is my father. We will not use a, an, or the before referring to any of these relations. Also, there are certain prepositions which are after the prepositions when there are nouns or words used before after it. We will not use articles. This is a very common error that students do make. For example, concentrate that we say at night, at daybreak, at sunrise, or at sunshine. We will not say at the night, at the daybreak, at the sunshine. This is also one very common error that we see is happening with people. Also, when we are saying, for example, she is sitting by river, we can also say she is sitting by the river, she is sitting at the river. But in certain instances we will be dropping the articles before the names of common nouns like river or trees, but those would be very case specific on, or They are not used a lot, but they are quite case specific and might be used in one or two places. So let us go over a quick recapitulation of what we have done in the entire classes. We dealt with definite articles and indefinite articles and how you will use them in the sentences. The definite articles are the, and the indefinite articles are a and an. So we went over with how you will use them, and also in the places where we will not use the articles. Do remember the places where we do not use articles. Whenever you are asked to find out an error in the sentence, do specifically look for it, whether they are using articles in places where they are not supposed to. That is one of the very common errors that we are used to find out during this comparative examinations that we have to crack. And other than that, we also dealt with a few exceptions like an hour, an honest man. These are exceptions to the general norms of using a or an. So these were the few things that we have learned today. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a great day.